Okay, so now we are going to take a look at how do we apply product rule on question 2a. Okay, question 2a, you have y equals to root x multiplied with 1 minus x to the power of 2. So the first thing I will do is I will rewrite this function as y equals to x to the power of half, and then the second function remains as 1 minus x holding bracket power 2. So this is a product of two functions of x. So we learned that its dy dx will be, according to product rule, write down the first function, which is x to the power half, differentiate the second function, which you use the chain rule, bring down the power 2, reduce the function's power by 1, so it now becomes power 1, times differentiate inside the bracket. So differentiate inside the bracket, meaning differentiate 1 minus x, you get negative 1. Plus, write down the second function, which is 1 minus x to the power of 2, differentiate the first function. So first function, bring down the power half, reduce the function's power by 1. So half minus 1, negative half. Okay, so first step, okay, I use product rule to differentiate this. Now we'll simplify. So x to the power half is actually root x. And there's a negative here and there's a 2 here. So I write it as negative 2 root x. And then you have a 1 minus x here. That's for the first term. Second term, you have a negative index here. So I'm going to write this as a denominator. So what is the numerator? It's 1 minus x to the power of 2. Okay, that's the numerator for this second term. And then the denominator, you have a 2 here. And you have this x to the power negative half, which goes down to the denominator. It becomes x to the power half, but I'm going to write it as root x. Okay, so I wrote the second term as a fraction. And the reason for this is it makes it easier to simplify later on. So the first term, I can imagine it as a fraction with denominator 1. And the second fraction, the denominator is 2 root x. So how do we simplify? Combine them to one single fraction. The single fraction's denominator is 2 root x. So this first term, the numerator, which is minus 2 root x times 1 minus x, you have to multiply it with another 2 root x. Okay? And this second term, the numerator remains the same because the denominator is really 2 root x. So now what you need to do is simply simplify the numerator. Minus 2 times 2, you get negative 4. Root x times root x, you get x. Bracket 1 minus x plus 1 minus x, bracket square, 2 root x. Okay, I'm going to continue over here so that we can all keep to the same page. So what is the next step? It will simplify. So you have minus, okay, let me backtrack a bit. I will not remove the bracket. Instead, I will factorize first. So if you look at the numerator, you have 1 minus x as a common factor. Okay, so I'm going to take out bracket 1 minus x. That's my common factor. And then after that, my first term is left with minus 4x. And my second term is still left with 1 minus x. Denominator is still 2 root x. Okay, so let me repeat. So how do I simplify? I take out this common factor, 1 minus x, take the smaller power, which is power 1. So the first term is left with minus 4x, plus the second term, you still have one more, 1 minus x. So continuing with simplifying the numerator, you would have minus 4x minus x minus 5x plus 1. And the denominator, 2 root x, remains. So you have found your dy dx.